Philadelphia Eagles, subject of significant speculation that they would look at a quarterback with the 6th overall pick in the draft. They removed that temptation by dropping to 12. I can't help but wonder whether they drop to 12 now so they don't look at quarterbacks and don't give in to the possibility of finding a franchise guy to replace Jalen Hurts. There was a report by Rob Maaddi of the AP over the weekend that there's no consensus in the building in Philly regarding Hurts. I think the smart move, though, is, just like I said last year with Gardner Minshew in Jacksonville, give the guy a year to see what he can become.
Sure.
And if he becomes a franchise guy, great. If he doesn't, then next year have this conversation about what you may do with the high first-round pick you inevitably will earn. So they pick up a future first-round pick, they drop back by 6, and they still have a fairly high pick relative to their needs because a lot of quarterbacks are going to go before 12. So they're going to get somebody that they feel good about at 12, and they pick up a first-round pick on top of it in the process.
I think that's right. You know, I mean, first off, this is a team that we know has more than just like one hole to fill. That's the one thing I look at. You know, with them at number 6, yeah, and it takes them out of some of the marquee players that might have been talked about towards the top of the draft. But I think when you're a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, you got to be real with yourself and go, wait, we're more than one player away here. You know, we got to do something to help our whole football team. And it's going to be more than just 1 year of fixing our football team to think that that's going to get the job done and then we'll be back in the mix of things 2022. No, I don't look at it that way. Certainly not. Build your football team. I think that's what Philadelphia is probably taking the approach with here. You're right. I mean, they're going to try to go with Jalen Hurts. We'll see where it goes there. But I think, you know, moving down, acquiring picks for this year, and, of course, what they do for themselves next year in the 2022 draft, I mean, that it makes sense, I think, for their football team and where they're at this current spot right now.
I was always led to believe, and I still think this concept applies to some extent, the right time to trade a pick is when the pick is on the clock, because then the team that acquires that pick knows it's getting the player that it covets. From Philly's perspective, I was curious why they would pull the trigger on a trade now for the 6th pick when they could have auctioned it off instead when they were on the clock. But my understanding is that premium of getting a second first-round pick and still being just on the fringes of the top 10, it's worth it to go ahead and do it now. And we talked earlier, Miami knows they're getting a great player there. Just like Sam Darnold 3 years ago when the Jets moved up from 6 to 3, they didn't know they were getting Darnold. They were content to get Darnold if that's who they got in that spot. The 49ers, they know who's going to be gone or likely will be gone. They're content. They're happy. They're thrilled to get who they're going to get at 3. Same thing with the Dolphins at 6. And the Eagles, rather than wait, do it now. Get your first-round pick. Put it away. File it away. Maybe you can bring it back into play for
right.
You know, swoop back into the bottom of round 1 if there's an opportunity to do that. But the Eagles realized that they would get more of a premium by doing the move now and giving the Dolphins the certainty they wanted by getting into the 6th spot.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense when you lay it out that way. I mean, you know, the Eagles, hey, they got some work cut out for them in front of them. I mean, we know that. Just it's across the board. You know, defensive line is aging and nothing special there. Linebackers, nothing special at all. Yeah, Darius Slay at corner. Okay, but he's like, you know, on the edge of the being done with the prime of his career. He's up there in years. The secondary needs a total rebuild. You know, wide receiver. I mean, yes, they need that. I mean, there's really not a really spot on the roster right now where you don't look at the Eagles other than tackle because they got Dillard and Lane Johnson. Other than that, you look at it and go, they got to start thinking about, you know, years for the future, improving the football team, depth, everything like that. So Howie Roseman, I think, makes the appropriate move. And like you said, he's got lots of chips to cash in here to play with to help build the football team.
Yeah, you're right, though, where that team currently is.
Look at it, right? It's crazy.
I mean, the fall from grace.
Right.
I still don't think we've seen anything like it where all those key members of the organization that won a Super Bowl just 3 years ago are gone.
Right.
And their only saving grace is they're in such a bad division, it's not as much of a climb to get back to playoff contention as it would be elsewhere. But what's going to be good enough for Eagles fans this year? They were up in arms last year And with Jalen Hurts, we really don't know what he's going to be. And defenses haven't seen enough film to come up with ways to stop him. And he may bash his head into a ceiling once defenses know what he's all about, Chris. It's a real challenge for Nick Sirianni and for Hurts to be ready for when defenses can crack that code.
I think so, too. I mean, I'm interested to see. I mean, you said it to start the segment. I don't think there was any consensus in that building. I had heard that there was a lot of coaches that were going, please don't trade Carson Wentz. But it's Jalen Hurts, and they got to make it work and try to build something around him.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.